Now, there is one school district near Seattle which showed middle schoolers anti-police videos celebrating Black Lives Matter. It was for Black History Month. Jason Rantz joins me now, Seattle guy. What was in the video and what was the response to it?
Yeah, so in this video, the presenter says that the BLM movement came out of this urgent need to address police brutality, and then it framed the topic with what she calls stark statistics from 2019 that showed that cops had killed over 1,000 people, and it was followed immediately by a stat that 99% of the cops haven't been charged with a crime. Students in this case are being led to believe that cops are just murdering people, especially black people, and not providing any context whatsoever. So I went back and I looked at the actual context. In 2019, for example, there were 251 black people killed by cops. That number includes every single black suspect who had a gun, who had a knife, who had a car trying to run people over, or shooting or stabbing either civilians or cops. Now, that is part of that number, which of course is not explained to these kids. And when you give that number, when you note that there were 19 people who were unarmed at the time who were shot and killed by police, also many of them actually engaged in some sort of physical altercation with the cops, it obviously changes the framing around how kids are supposed to look at that stat. So the intent seems pretty clear, which is to demonize cops.
Plagued by shoplifting, over 500 Seattle businesses have closed down in the last 2 years. All right, Jason, what are local officials doing about that? Anything?
So this is actually kind of interesting. The new Seattle city attorney, who's a Republican, has said she is changing policy. Within 5 days of an arrest, she is going to determine whether or not there should be charges. Because in the past, it would just go to the back of the caseload, which is about 5,000 cases deep at this point. And obviously that means some of the prolific offenders who are out there constantly shoplifting and doing other things, they're back out on the streets very quickly and they're recommitting crimes. So she's saying she's going to go after the criminals. She's going to look at the background. Not everyone's going to be prosecuted, but the ones who absolutely need to will be. The interesting part is the Seattle City Council is, of course, pushing back. The council member, Andrew Lewis, who represents the district that's getting hit so hard in the downtown core of Seattle, says this is the wrong move because all it does is put people in jail for a few weeks or a few months, and then they come out and they're probably going to recommit. And there might be some truth to that because there's some people who are doing this. It's led in large part by homelessness, many of whom are addicted to some sort of drug. It's probably true that if they're not willing to get the help, they're going to go back and do this. But guess what? While they're in jail for either 2 weeks or 2 months, that means they're not victimizing anyone for those 2 weeks or 2 months, and that's better than just keeping them out on the streets.
Yeah, you got that right. Jason Rantz, thank you very much, sir. We'll see you again soon. I'm going to stay in Seattle, and I've got a warning for you.
Thank you so much for watching the Jason Rantz Show. If you like that video update, make sure you check out my show. You can download it on podcast over at KTTH.com or listen Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 770 KTTH in Seattle and 94.5 FM on the Greater East Side.